audience. My name is Indra Mungal, and I work in the education department. Thanks, Anne. It's my last program here at the Asian Art Museum, and I'm going to start crying. I have an incredible team, and I just want to acknowledge them because I could not do this without them. We have my team in education led by Deb Clearwaters, who is one of the most rocking people you'll ever meet, ever work with, Allison Wyckoff and Triana Patel. Woo! And I love you all so much. They've supported me in all my visions, like this kind of a program. And our AV team, led by John O'Shea. We've got Ted and Travis tonight. You couldn't ask for a better team. And I just want to say, you know, serving you all has been incredible. I'm going to continue this work, but over in Oakland. So I'm going to continue working with groups like this. So it's Pride Month, right? In 21 states in this country, it's not okay to have Pride Month. And that's not okay. That is not okay. And we need to be vocal. I believe we need to be vocal and say we're citizens of this country and we don't accept it. Even if it's not our state, it's still part of this country. And there are people we love who are queer and transgender, and we have to support them. So please do that, please. I mean, it breaks my heart. So I wanted to say that, that we are featuring performers tonight, incredible performers, who challenge our assumptions about gender roles in dance and recontextualize traditional dances for the 21st century. Gender fluidity is an age-old concept in Buddhist texts. Bodhisattvas transcend gender distinctions. Depictions of Asian deities are often androgynous. And on the stage, performers in many Asian traditions play both genders. You can see this in our exhibitions, and you'll see this tonight. So first tonight, we have an amazing dancer we flew here for tonight from Cambodia. Yeah. He's gonna love that. So, born to Khmer refugees in the United States, Prumsadang Ak rose from the poverty and violence-stricken inner city of Long Beach to become the new face of Khmer dance. He uses art to heal, illuminate, and empower, reviving the spirit of his people from the enduring forces of conflict. A champion of Khmer culture, he's the founding artistic director of Prumsadang Ak and Natyas Rasa, Cambodia's first gay dance company. I mean, extraordinary, right? The Channel News Asia described the company as one of the most revolutionary dance troupes in Cambodia, and he currently lives in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, working at the intersection of cultural preservation, artistic innovation, education, LGBTQ advocacy, and environmental stewardship. After the performances, we're going to have a chance to have Q&A with both companies, so you can ask all those burning questions. So without further ado, our beloved Prumsadang Ak. Rumsadan Ak flew in from Cambodia for this performance. So I just want you to know, it's incredible. I hope we're going to have Q&A after, and I hope someone asks him about Pride in Cambodia. They just had Pride, and he participated a lot. And given that he's the founder of the first gay dance company in Cambodia, I'm anxious to know what that looked like. I haven't had a chance to ask yet. I wanted to call out somebody who really helped me tonight with the recommendations, and that's Ann Wong, who's the executive director of World Arts West, the ethnic dance festival they produce. They've been producing that for 45 years. She has not been there 45 years. Just wanted you to know. But she's doing an incredible job. And thank you, Anne, for recommending these two incredible dance companies. I mean, I'm really touched and moved by them. So I'm going to introduce you now to a dance company that is making their debut tonight. Debut. It's really special. We're honored. I've seen at least 3 of these dancers with other companies, and they're really extraordinary. This is Ishami Dance Company, brand new. Amit Patel and Ishika Seth, fans of Amit and Ishika. They were the founders. They created the dance company to explore limitless creative possibilities through the medium of South Asian contemporary dance. Their vision is to create works that tread the line between traditional and modern, dismantling social constructs to amplify marginalized voices and stories. I can't talk tonight, but I'm trying. They value inclusivity and cultural exchange, encouraging artists to cultivate individuality and intentionality while crossing cultural boundaries to share stories and spark conversation. And they are going to be introducing each of the dances they're performing tonight, so you'll get to go deeper with them. So let's welcome for their debut, Ishami Dance Company. Woo!
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are Ishami Dance Company. Today, we're going to be presenting 3 works that explore the intersections between Indian identity, Indian culture, tradition, history, and queerness in honor of Pride Month. Our first piece is titled They. In this piece, we look at the figure of Hindu deities Shiva and Parvati in their Ardhanarishwar form, which is depicted as half male and half female, a reference to the balance of masculine and feminine energies within an individual and a transcension of the gender binary. We see Ardhanarishwara as evidence of the existence of identities beyond the gender binary throughout Indian history, and the endurance of communities that do not conform to binary notions of gender. These identities have existed for thousands of years in India, but have gradually been relegated to the margins of society as time has elapsed. We also explore the erasure of identities and communities from dominant narratives and the minimizing of the contributions of people with queer identities within Indian culture, society, art, and religion. In this piece, we seek to utilize Hindu imagery as well as modern movement and aesthetics to interrogate and problematize this history and the marginalization of queer communities in India. It is an ode to gender fluidity and an acknowledgement of its deep roots in ancient history and mythology.
thank you everyone for being here. Hi. So my name is Amit. I'll be introducing the next piece as well. So our next piece is called Kama. Kama is the Sanskrit word for desire, wish, and longing, and denotes pleasure of the senses. In this work, we explore the idea that if these ancient statues that we see from all over South Asia, if they came to life, what would their stories be? What would their histories be? We look at these unnamed figures that adorn various temples and monuments in South Asia. Though these statues are without description or explicit identity, we imagine them as beings who embody sensuality and freedom, but whose stories are often ignored, marginalized, or erased. These figures, predominantly women, are often seen engaging in pleasurable, erotic sex, evidence of sexual freedom enjoyed by many in early Indian society. In a patriarchal and colonized society, there is sometimes an othering of certain people and their stories. But these stories have always been an essential part of the fabric of society, and their voices have always existed and will continue to exist. Can you hear them?
We conclude with Mohabbat, a celebration of love and joy. While queer love stories have begun to make their way into the mainstream, they are often riddled with pain, sacrifice, and hurt, rather than joy and resilience. We seek to intervene, offering a story of love flourishing and bring to the forefront stories that remain underrepresented. While still influenced by the rigid constructs of society, stories of love can be universal. We dare to challenge the status quo and imagine a world in which these boundaries no longer confine us. Can all forms of love exist and thrive outside the confines of religion, culture, and prejudice? What does it look like when we can bring together all the different parts of ourselves and explore how they intersect?
ऐसी मरनी जो मरे बहुरी ना मरना हो कबीरा मरता मरता जगमुआ मर भी ना जाने को क्या जाने किम मरांगे कैसा मरना जेकर साहिब मन हूं ना विसरे ता सहल मरना सहल मरना 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 ਸਾਇਆ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਜੀਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਮੁੱਕਦਾ ਕਿਉਂ ਵੇ ਜੁੜਨ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਟੁੱਟਦਾ ਹਰ ਤੁਨ ਗਾਓ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਹਰ ਤੁਨ ਸੁਣ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ हर तुन निर्गुण निर्वैर निर्गुण हर तुम गाओ हर तुम सुनो निर्गुण हर तुम सुनो निर्गुण
The Shami Dance Company, their premiere. I feel like I need just a moment of beautiful silence for that. That was extraordinary, extraordinary. I'm very moved. So we have time for maybe like a 10-minute Q&A. We're bringing back first Promsadan Ak, come back. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I would love to hear more about like what is flowing through you, like in your heart, your body, your spirit, your mind when you're dancing.
Oh wow, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Why don't we start with you?
So the tradition that I practice is more than 1,000 years old, and it was nearly destroyed in a genocide. So there's always a sense of urgency when practicing. And I think urgency is important. It's important for action and change, but it also can be very heavy sometimes, you know. So even though I've been dancing for a long time, there's still a part of me that's like, you know, like that I have to hit it, you know, and sometimes that feeling of like not being enough, you know, is something that's always in my head and in my heart, you know. And even when I teach my students, you know, there's always, when I look at them, there's always something like, it's not enough, there has to be something more, you know. But tonight, I saw my friends before the performance, I saw my beautiful teacher before the performance, and I almost cried, you know. And so when I came on stage, all of that kind of disappeared, you know, and I was just really thankful to be back in the Bay Area, so. Yeah, thank you.
I think for me, and sometimes the work that we kind of do, sometimes it's very much somewhat rooted in intention and storytelling. And even if it doesn't always translate to an audience, the ideal hope is sometimes it does. But I think that's kind of it for us in terms of like storytelling, whether it's our own stories or stories we've read about or like learned about. And I think that's, at least for me, that kind of drives a lot of it. Sometimes it's just emotion-based, sometimes it's raw, sometimes it's super abstract. But I think a lot of, for us, I think the biggest thing, at least I think for the most part, is very much just like intention. And I think if hopefully that translates, sometimes it doesn't. It's just part of the process sometimes. But that was it? Anyone else? No? Okay, that was about it. I was like, oh, go for it, go for it. Yeah.
I was just going to add, I think also for a lot of at least a lot of Indian forms of dance, storytelling is inherent. And I think it's always beautiful to share a stage, especially here right on the floor with everyone, because that's something we miss in video, being able to share a story but also feel the energy and kind of exchange that. And that's why every performance can be very different, and the exchange can be different. And so I think that's one thing too. You have no idea what's going to happen. That's where the magic happens. It's the actual in the moment experience.
Ooh, there you go. Hi. So for a bit of context for my question, I'm a Filipino classical dancer, and it's a dance from the 16th century. It's very similar to like Khmer and like Indonesian dance. It's very gendered. It's Hindu Buddhist rooted. Not a lot of people know this dance. But my question is primarily for Prosa Dumok, but feel free to also jump in. As a migrant dancer, like somebody who has been practicing a gendered dance, vocabulary dance form that is ancient, what is it like trying to go back to the motherland, root that dance there, and also establish the queer identity within this traditional dance form? Because in a way, it's kind of a neo-tradition, right? But like, I'm so curious what that is like for you and how and what you're doing.
Thank you. That's a really good question. So actually, when I was growing up in Long Beach, you know, I was the only boy in the room, and you know, I wasn't out yet. I wasn't comfortable with my sexuality, and so, you know, when my teacher was teaching me how to dance like a man, you know, it was always awkward and painful, you know, like on the one hand, you know, you're 16, you just started, and so there's that gap in technique. But then also when you turn on the television and you open the books and open the magazines and newspapers and you never see anything about LGBTQ people, or if you do, it's a caricature of, you know, of femininity, you know, it's a gross exaggeration of gender. You know, it was really painful, and I remember asking myself, why do I love this thing that hurts me so much? You know, why do I love this thing that, you know, brings me so much pain? You know, and something that I realized is that these gender roles are very fragile. You know, and if you just turn the wrong way, you turn your head or your neck or your wrist the wrong way, that image is broken immediately, you know. And so the power of these images and these ideals is that they're very hard to attain, even if you're born into that gender. If you're a cisgender and you identify that way, it's still very hard to, you know, to attain that ideal, you know. And so for me, when I recognize that, you know, actually these roles and these images are quite fragile, I appreciated them. And, you know, and it didn't become about, you know, am I straight or am I queer? It didn't become about that. And so moving to Cambodia, you know, like sometimes we were like, oh, there were gay people back then, you know, like they would say stuff like that, or in the early days they would say, you know, like LGBTQ is like a white people thing, you know, and in some ways it is, you know. But you know, like, so for me, like to very consciously choose to call my company Cambodia's first gay dance company, you know, we're not the first gay dancers in Cambodia, right? But, you know, if you ask people, you know, who came before us, there's no clear answer, you know. There's rumors, but, you know, there's no clear answer. And so for me to call our company a gay dance company is to really mark a place and a space in time and history and in the society. And you know, it's been a journey, and what I'll say is that, like, even like calling it a gay dance company, for me, like growing up in America, like even in the gay community, there's so much racism, there's so much classism, there's so much misogyny, there's so much consumerism, you know. And so, like, for me, like growing up poor in America and never identifying and never having a place in there, like to use that label, you know, to just mark a clear space was like a really conscious choice, but then also to like resist like all of that, those more like uglier sides of the gay community, you know, and to show that, you know, it's possible to be gay and you know, being gay is not contrary to tradition. Being gay is not contrary to nature. And so in Cambodia, to be honest, if we weren't making the rigor of work that we were making, we would have gotten smushed or stomped on or like shut down. But we're really maintaining that balance of we can't shut them down because they're bringing something very, very new at a high level. And we've literally been at performances, for example, in Thailand, the dean of a university came and he said, like, don't call yourselves a gay dance company. There's nothing gay about your work. and then at that very same performance, the critic from the Bangkok Post, she was saying, like, that was the most radically queer performance I've ever seen. So it's that really sensitive balance, that I think maybe if you guys want to add.
I don't have good words formulated.
That was just so beautifully put.
What was the question? Okay, we can move on.
So we have time for one more question. Anyone over here?
Combining it into one.
Okay. No, thank you so much. My question is directed a little to Shami. Thank you for such a beautiful performance. I think what was beautiful is that in your rendition of the three sort of pieces that you presented, there is an intentional return to the past, right? And I think there's a beautiful way in which the past is re-invoked, particularly the pre-colonial past. But the piece that I liked the most was the last one, because I think it acknowledges that the pre-colonial was not perfect, right? That before colonization, even though these sculptures, these idols reflect queerness, queerness has always and remains even today a struggle. And I think the third piece sort of brought that out beautifully, because even before then we had patriarchy and caste patriarchy sort of defining the ways in which we love. And I think your question was beautiful, which is Bharatanatyam and other sort of traditional dance traditions, how do they fold into this? Because they too come with sort of embedded histories of caste, right? So how do we at the same time make place for and hold space for these sort of conflicting realities of love while acknowledging the need to return to the past?
That's a phenomenal question. And there's, yeah, applause. And there's so many layers to this, and I think what you bring up is something that we grapple with every day as we make our work and we practice our work. A lot of us come from backgrounds that are trained in Indian classical dance forms. And so I think when it comes to exploring that while also interrogating it very critically, I think, at least for me, I won't speak for everyone, but I think this is sort of how we view our work, is we try to separate the technical elegance of these dance forms a little bit from their history and start to see them mentally more as sources of movement vocabulary rather than spiritual practices or ways of life, because I think they've been made into entities that are seen that way by many practitioners and teachers, and that's how we're told. Like when you're in Bharatanatyam class, it's not, your guru's not your dance teacher, she's like your life guide and all of this stuff. And I think the ability to say, no, this is just, these are shapes, these are movements that are beautiful, and we can acknowledge that, and at the same time we can use these shapes in modern ways, is a way for us, at least cognitively, to like separate them a little bit from these really troubled histories. At the same time, I think, which you saw in especially the first piece, a lot of the work that we do that invokes classicism also seeks to, in the subject matter of the work, actually call to question the circumstances in which these forms came to light. So for example, with our Ardhanarishwara, we're not just presenting Ardhanarishwara as this beautiful image of gender fluidity, but we also present it as, yes, this image exists, but at the same time, this is an image that's been used to reinforce male and female as the ideas of gender, and it's been an image that has been present in Hinduism, which is a religion that's fraught with casteism and patriarchy and all of these other very problematic things throughout its history and its culture. And so we try to take that classical movement, and through the modes of storytelling and the usage of shapes and the language of hand gestures that we've all been gifted through our classical dance training, we try to tell stories that kind of call into question the stories that we originally used that vocabulary for. And we could go on. This is, yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm just going to add on a little. I think it's really awesome that you asked this question, because we were discussing this in the green room right before this performance. And something that like all of us were reflecting on is the fact that even Bharatanatyam is something that was formulated as a caste-based practice in the 30s. Like, it's not an ancient style that has been used for centuries. It's classicism and casteism that made it what it is today. But if we reflect on traditional, like Devadasis in temples, or even like dancers who dance primarily in brothels, like there's so much tradition, like he was saying as well, like there's so much tradition in there that's not reflective of what the traditional or what the quote and unquote status is right now. The tradition we see today. But yeah, thank you for your question.
Yes.
They're going to do a final bow for you and say, thank them, please, thank them all, please. Here, why don't you walk up? People are taking pictures. You want to walk up closer? Here, take a final bow together. Extraordinary artists, thank you. Sorry.